All right. Well, we are here live with the cast of Becky's New Car. We're going to give people a minute to join in. We are all over the place. We've got some people down in Naples. We've got Brett Marston there, who's he's muted for the time being. We've just got some background noise going on, but he's fully engaged with us here this evening. And we've got just a few members of the cast. Earlier on, we did put a link to the playbill in the comments. If you want to go ahead and check out the digital playbill, you are more than welcome to do that. But we are on the eve of the premiere of this virtual performance, so we thought it was a great time to get the cast together and let you all see so much of what happened behind the scenes. I mean, the scenes were all in everybody's home when we were on the Safer at Home order, so pretty unprecedented times for trying to put together a cast and a show. But I think we've got some exciting stories that came out of it, and I'll be honest, I got to see the final product a little early, and I think it's amazing. So without further ado, let's just go around the room here and have everybody introduce themselves, tell me a little bit about the character you played, and describe for the audience what Becky's about in a couple sentences. And starting with Jessica Walk.
Hi, I'm Jessica Walk, and I play Becky Foster. She is really a woman trying to find her worth in her life, and I think we all go through stages of that, and she's definitely in her middle time of her life trying to figure out where she belongs and what makes her happy, and she's just in search of that throughout this entire show, and she kind of learns where she belongs within it, so and in a very interesting way. So I think everybody will resonate with the fact that, trying to find their purpose and way in life is definitely a universal theme throughout the show.
For sure. Jackie?
Hi, I'm Jackie Weiner. I play Ginger, who is a neighbor of Walter's. I'd say Ginger is a bit of a wealthy trust fund kid who ends up losing all of her money, never worked a day in her life. And she meets Becky. I think she learns a lot through Becky, and there's a nice little transition with their relationship, and I'm not giving anything away, but she's in her 50s. She's never married. She will grow. She will grow towards the end of the show in a good way.
All right, we'll have to watch for that. We've got Brett Marston down there.
Hi, everybody. I'm Brett Marston. I play Walter Flood. Walter is a very kind of extremely wealthy, traditional type of businessman. Really a man, that character that's driven by his heart. He loves and loves and loves and loves. And he's a man that really needs a woman in his life and really needs to be taken care of. And he's widowed, and he walks in to get some cars from a dealership, and that's where he meets Becky, and their relationship ensues from there. So it really helps Walter open his capacity to love and feel love and all of that. And what I like about this show is I think particularly Becky, but all the characters have to expose some sort of major vulnerability about their life. And all those vulnerabilities are shown through different scenarios and scenes in the play, but I think it's very relatable for many people on many different levels.
Excellent. Last but not least, Mr. Tom Rex down in the corner.
Hi, I'm Tom Rex, and I play Joe Foster. Joe is a very hardworking, blue-collar type worker. He has a really good sense of humor. He likes to kid around a lot with his wife and son, and he goes through an interesting journey throughout the show, and without giving much away, I think he really has to decide whether or not how willing he is to forgive, and I think that's Joe's journey throughout the show.
Excellent. Well, I know we've got a lot of themes. Everybody in this show is kind of on their own journey. It's kind of fun to watch them them come together without anybody ever coming together physically. And I did note right before we went live that, you know, when I was watching this as a sneak peek kind of final editor's version, that I was one of those skeptics who said, how is this going to work? How is this going to work with people in different places? And I made the mention to Jessica. I said, I looked down at the timer, and about 4 minutes in, I had to stop and look and say, I totally got sucked in. It did not. I felt like I was watching, you know, this character and this play unfold in front of me, and you get sucked into it. And part of it is such a cool story, and the other part is, if you look in the playbill, we do something that's called breaking the fourth wall in this play, which means the character talks to the audience a lot. So it's pretty perfect. But Jessica, tell us what happened as you're starting to get ready to do all of these rehearsals in person, and one day everything's good, the next day the theater is shut down. What discussions happened? What decisions were made? How did everybody in the cast, I mean, chime in if you guys have anecdotes here to share with this, but tell us more about that process.
Well, I mean, you know, it's a day-by-day thing, as everybody's finding out, that you have to make decisions based on day by day. We don't really know how to plan for these things. So as soon as we shut down, you know, we were like, okay, we don't know what's going to happen, but we set up rehearsals once a week just to keep us accountable and together, and not knowing, you know, the future of the production, keeping it on its feet, keeping us sharp, keeping us together, which was really, really wonderful just to see each other and to work. But then once we started to see that getting back together wasn't going to be something that was really possible, especially for this kind of a show in a small space, and you know, we kind of flipped. And what I will say about this cast is I've never worked with a cast that has been so willing to flex and bend to make something happen. Every single person in this cast and production team was on board to tell this story. And one of the things I think is so important about the Naples Players is, you know, we wanted to showcase the 4 weeks of work we already did in-house that would have just gone away if we hadn't done something with it. And we knew we had a story to tell and that it was valuable. And so we were always just saying, what's our options? What's our options? What's our options? What's the best place and the best way to tell this story? And when we decided it was through this, we decided to do it the best way we could. And everybody was on board 110%. And you can't do this kind of a thing without that. So I am eternally grateful to the cast and production team for making that happen.
Yeah, I know we got to see some of the behind the scenes photos of each of you having your own studio space set up in your homes. You know, Jackie, tell us, I know you have a couple of fun stories of things that came out of the woodwork, or things that you had to deal with as you were shooting from home. Tell us a couple of those funny stories.
Yeah. Well, during the last week where we were pretty much filming every night, I think on the Wednesday night, I mean, I don't come on till Act 2, but we just did our little like chat before Act 1 started, and then they went in, and then suddenly everything just went bang, and I heard the next door guy's generator go on, which is such a lot of noise. So I'm like, I just, all I did was text the stage manager, and I said, I have no power, nothing. And I'm just like, I'm running around, I've got these in, I'm listening to everybody do their scene, and nothing had happened by the break. And so I'm like outside with the iPad, and Dallas and Jessica, they're like, well, just go in the car. So I get in the car, and I've got my first costume on. So I do 3 changes. So I'm in the car, I've got my champagne glass, and you know, I'm dealing with ginger drinks quite a bit. So I'm dealing with like switching my glasses, switching my alcohol, running around in costume. I'm in the car, then I'd go back in, and this is all why the lights are off, and I've got the flashlight, and I literally just kept changing, because I thought at any minute, you know, the lights will come back on, and they actually did for the very, very final scene. So I was able to go back in and have lights. So I've got the neighbors like, oh, you look really pretty tonight. What's going on? Because like everyone's out and it's blown. So that was pretty funny. And we actually got a good picture of me in the car with my yeah, we're renovating, and Dallas wanted a picture on the wall of horses because Ginger had horses at one time. So I got my nails, did some holes in the wall for that. And on the Thursday, brand new windows were put into the room that I was filming in. So I was dealing with complete renovation and windows being put in, and yeah, I worked around it, but it worked.
You guys all had to certainly continue pivoting and
Dogs
plotting
barking.
on. Yes. But I mean, it sounds like you really evolved, and some of you had worked together in other capacities prior to this, so you had that relationship already. Brett, I know you had worked with Jessica before. Jessica and Tom had worked together. Brett, tell us a little bit about your history working with this team and how that sort of helped you guys all be able to continue to collaborate and continue to make this happen as you were at a distance.
Yeah, I've been with the Naples Players for about 6 years, and the very first show I did at the Naples Players was directed by Dallas Dunnigan, who came to direct this one. He used to be the artistic director. So I had that relationship. I'd had the joy of working with Jessica as an assistant director when we did a play last year. And I've had the joy of working with Jessica as a director when she directed me in a play called Don't Dress for Dinner. And so I feel Jessica and I've had a strong collaborative relationship over the years, as I have with other people. And with the other cast members, I had never worked with any of them, but I was aware of many of them. Jackie is new to the theater, the delightful addition, and I'd known Tom and seen Tom before. So it was nice to work with a variety of folks that I hadn't worked with before, and just kind of kept expanding the theater circle and just learning and knowing more actors and watching their process. So it's really a joy, and that this theater gives us the opportunity to explore and get to know more people and trial our process and keep growing and enhancing our skills.
Sure. You got a fan out there. We've got Jenny Morton Allen says, "Hi, Brett."
Oh, hi, Jenny. Her name is Gertrude. Well, we call her Gertrude.
Well, you got a fan out there, so we had to pass the microphone over to you for a minute.
Well, thank you.
Tom, same thing. I know you had worked with some of the others. How did that help be able to keep you guys on top of everything and engaged?
I started working with Naples Players a couple years ago, and when I did, I actually started working backstage. And I got to know some of the other cast members through them being in shows when I was working backstage, like Brett, when Brett was referring to Don't Dress for Dinner. Jessica directed that as well. Then I did play a small role in Escadaba in the Moonlight, directed by Jessica. And that brought me to basically the situation I'm in now, and playing Joe.
Excellent. We're going to stop for 2 seconds and just let the audience, I know we've got a couple people watching on Facebook, a couple people watching it on YouTube. We did promise to give away a couple of tickets or a couple of passes to catch it tomorrow night at the opening. So what we're going to do is anybody who's out there who's watching, in order to get entered, we'll do a raffle drawing at the very end of this. Just let us know in the comments. Tell us what was the last TMP show you went to go see in person at the theater, or if you've never seen a TMP show, what was the last show that you did go see anywhere in a theater? And hopefully the next one that you get to go see is at TNP again this fall. I know we're still figuring things out, but it's a virtual summer, and hopefully it'll go as quickly as the last 3 months did, and we'll all be in fall very quickly. And then also, while we have a minute, thank you to Naples Garage Door, or Garage Doors of Naples. They are a sponsor for this show. They're sponsors of the recent COVID report that came out as well. The copy of that is in the back of this playbill for this production as well, the digital playbill. So take a look at that. They were able to underwrite that for the theater in order to keep the costs down, since we're still losing a lot of revenue in tickets and different things that are going on with summer summer school and summer classes that are taking a hit as well. So thank you to them for being so supportive of the theater. What I always think is really interesting is TMP has such a a great group of actors, and they're all volunteers. And I think that some people don't realize that at certain points that, you really are that passionate that, because they see you in certain shows, or they recognize you. Oh, I saw that guy in this show, or oh, he's back in that show. For me, I know I saw that Brett was in this, and I caught Brett in Don't Dress for Dinner, and it was kind of like that familiar face of, okay, I remember him from that show. Who has some funny, I know, Jessica, you mentioned that you've been recognized before for being a role that maybe you didn't realize would lead to stardom and recognition in Southwest Florida. What role was that?
So in 2010, I played Sylvia, which is a wonderful show by A.R. Gurney, and she is a dog, but it's a metaphor, and it's a beautifully written play. It's super, super funny and charming. And I just loved playing that character. And it's a star vehicle for sure. But afterwards, I mean, up until now, like, people are like, oh my gosh, weren't you the dog? And I'm like, yeah, I'll take that as a compliment this time. And people actually like, well, could you wag your tail for me? And I'll always go, I don't have a tail in real life. But yeah, I mean, even at the theater at previews and whatever, they're like, oh, I just loved you in Sylvia. Now, I've played several roles at the theater since then, but it's one that always sticks out, and it was a favorite of mine. So anytime anybody mentions it, I'm not mad to go down memory lane and revisit that one.
For sure. Anyone else have roles, whether it was with TMP or not, that you get recognized for? No. Well, Jess, I mean,
just play animals, and you'll be good.
Enough. Well, let's see. So without giving anything away about Becky, what is, just a couple of you have some favorite lines of dialogue or some things that stick with you that are something that you want to share with the audience? Again, like, let's make sure that it doesn't give anything away about the story. But Jackie, do you have anything that sticks out at you?
I can't help it. I love Walter, like Brett's, you gave away your season ticket?
We'll have to all watch for that now. You're all going to think of that when you watch it.
When we started talking about it, I really felt like I have to not break character with this, that, because we talked about it a bit, and it was, the last couple of nights, it was like, oh no, I can't. So it's just something that sticks with me. Plus, no, somebody else go.
I think Brett had one too. Brett mentioned he had a line of dialogue. Was it the same one?
Well, no, but that was completely a director decision. I didn't see the line as being articulated the way I was asked to do it. She wanted me to put a lot of emphasis on the line. When I read the script, I didn't see it that way. But when she gave me the direction, I thought, well, let's just take it all the way. And I think it had some humor. I know other cast members were imitating it backstage when we were when I would be doing it. Little did I know that they were not making fun of me; they were laughing with me. I trust.
Yes.
One of my favorite lines. I think there's many, many beautiful, beautiful lines in this play. So rich with language. But one of my favorites is things narrow, don't they, as we age? The things in our lives. Or our life itself, whether we admit it or not, it begins to narrow and the unexpected fades away. I don't know. I just think that's such a beautiful line, and it's a beautiful thing about aging and as we mature and our lives start to pass us by. So I think this play is just loaded with little gems like that throughout. So.
Excellent. Jess, I think you had one too. You had a line of tech or a dialogue.
It's similar to Brett's, and it's a Walter line, and he says to Becky, "Life is chaos and holidays." And I remember when I read the script, and I have the script. I was reading it, and I was like, "Oh, yes, that's so true." Because it's like we go through life every day trying to get through that day and get through. Get to the weekend, and it's all this pressure and stress and everything. And then we're waiting to get to the vacations and the Christmases and the times where we don't have to be a slave to those schedules. And that line, it hit me like, I was like, oh my what great writing, like what a great small line that encapsulates something very true about our culture. And every time he says it, I'm like, wow, like it hits me every time Brett says it. I'm like, it's so true. It's so true. We're just speeding through life sometimes. We don't stop and take those moments.
What a interesting time to be doing a play that this will, I mean, I guarantee you, this is the first time after COVID and after being forced to be away from the people that you love and being able to sort of reassess, you know, how you spend your time, for that line to take on, you know, an additional meaning to this cast and to the people that are going to see it. And I think that that's something really interesting. I know at the beginning of the show, when people watch it, they get a little treat. You know, Bryce had interviewed the Statikers, the original couple that commissioned the play, and that was one of the things they said was, you know, they've seen it over, I think, like 150 times at this point, and what they mentioned is it's real interesting to put it in the lens of the current situation of life, and also from different directors' eyes. And, you know, that's what makes it a different play for them every time. And I thought that was so interesting. Well, let's see. Let's tell me a little more. What I want to know is you guys are all apart as you're filming this. And then we'll kind of wrap up here after this. But who's the most likely person in this cast to flub a line, to end up breaking character? Like, how many times did you have to stop rolling, and who's got that title? Come on.
I don't think anybody wants to say it.
Okay, well, maybe we'll, you know,
we were all fairly good. I will say, I will call myself out, because there was one monologue during rehearsals where it was very interactive with the audience, and we never had anybody to interact with. And I'm very much an improv person. I want to work off that was my like draw to the show. I was like, oh my gosh, she gets to engage with the audience and improv with them and have fun with them. And during rehearsals, like, it was just like I was talking to air, and every time I was like, I hate this. I would just stop in the middle of it and be like, I don't, okay, we're moving on. Like, I just had no idea where I was at the time. And then we got to this format, and I was like, I still don't know. And we had to figure it out.
You but get a laugh track like, or something.
Here's that moment.
Oh. Well, who?
I know there was a time where I could not get the phone call right, and I struggled for some reason with the phone call that happens in Act 1, but eventually, through probably some very good editing by Jessica, I was able to actually make the phone call work.
I have a very funny story about that, actually, because I ended up filming that scene in the car later on, that you guys will see. And it was funny because I filmed it at first without timing, and then I was like, this doesn't work. I can't edit this. So I had to have you guys, I had to put the audio in my ear, and then I was driving in the car and had the audio. So you guys are in my ear, and I'm saying the lines to you guys. It was very interesting. It's a hard scene. It's a really hard scene because we're saying things that don't match all the time. So there's no, you have to know when you get in there. So it's tough.
So interesting to absolutely know, you know, these things that the audience will never know, because like I said, it was put together so well. It really so much time and effort, I can tell, went into this, that, you know, the audience won't know those little things happen, because it's seamless. I mean, the final product is phenomenal. So anything that you guys want to share that we haven't gone over about this whole process, something you learned about yourself during this process, something you're excited for the next show that isn't virtual, or that you don't have to be shooting from your living room in the middle of a, you know, virus-induced shutdown? Jackie, do you have anything to add to that? Or
I do feel that, I mean, obviously this was very different. I needed a lot of discipline to be focused. I mean, you're focused in the theater in a different way, but kind of when in the house where there's like kids and dogs and life going on, it was a different thing of focusing. And also you haven't got that physical energy going on with the
Right.
actors around you. It was just so different to like start just like right now looking at everyone's faces in there and just the little box. It was incredible. It was a good experience.
I'll tell you, Larry just called you out in the comments too, though. He said, as your significant practice partner, he's excited to see the final product. I think he's going to be maybe looking for himself as a cameo, maybe, peeking around the corner or something. No?
Well, he does know all of Walter's lines.
Brett, anything in that, Brett or Tom, to add to that? You've learned about yourselves, little things that you're looking forward to?
Yeah, I mean, it was, it really became film acting versus stage acting, and how do you modify your choices for that? Jessica sent me a little clip early in the process, and it really did inform me about how I read on film. And so I was able to kind of modify some of my choices based on what I'd seen. So that was good, which you don't really get that chance in theater. And I think the toughest part for me was that we were confined within, Dallas was very clear that she wanted our heads framed in a certain way. So we couldn't physically veer off to the left or the right. So being contained in this really tight space, but yet doing big acting choices, it was a challenge.
I can't imagine. Yeah.
But I learned.
All right. Well, let's see. We're going to give you guys a chance to as the stars of the show, and the idea of this being virtual, which means anybody anywhere can tune in and see this. I know the tickets, when you buy them, the expectation is you buy them for a certain day. You'll be able to go to that link and watch the show for 24 hours. So that's how we're making this work, and how the theater has put a lot of time in on the back end to make sure that hopefully that's not a headache of a process. But who do you guys want to send a shout out to? Family members, friends, people who need to see this show. And also we're gonna challenge anybody who's watching to do the same thing. And this will put you in the hopper for winning some tickets too. Tag or mention someone in the comments who you think will like the show. And again, because it's virtual, we're not confined to having to be in Naples. So, Jess, Jackie, anybody, chime in. Who do you want to call out and say, I want you to see this show?
I think for me, I thought about this and I was like, I have a very supportive family, and a lot of my friends are Naples Players people. And because we're a supportive community, they're all going to see it, I know. But I think it would be really cool if my neighborhood playhouse class of 2007, dating myself, saw my show, because we don't get to do that. I think it's a very interesting time for when people are afar, that they don't get to see the work that we're doing. And my great friends, Jefferson Rogers, Stephen Augusto, and Emma Canalese, I'm calling you out to see my show. They will, because they're wonderful. But it would be really great if all of the neighborhood playhouse class of 2007, and I'll tag you all, come and get a link and see the show and see what I've been up to since we've been in school 13 years ago.
Wow.
Jackie, who needs to see this show when you're thinking outside of Naples or even in Naples?
Well, I don't know that many people here, so I've only been down here almost 2 years. I really want my mom, my sister, and my family in England. They are going to watch. They're all going to watch it. We moved down from New Jersey 2 years ago. I would call out to all my McKinley Capers, mums, dads, and faculty members. I would love them to all watch it. And then Jenny, Helen, and Jenny T. That's it. And everyone else on Facebook.
Brett, who needs to see this show?
I want my family in Kentucky to see this show.
All right.
But all of my family is there, and so I'm doing a shout out to them to come see it. And since Gertrude piped in earlier, if she's still watching, Gertrude, watch this show.
Excellent. We'll be watching for Kentucky to pop up on the tracking analytics of the show here. Tom, who do you want to call out?
I'm asking for my friends and family in Pennsylvania to watch the show. They haven't seen me do anything like this before. This is something I've started since we moved down into Naples, so never seen me do anything like this before. So now they finally have that chance. So I'm hoping that they can buy these tickets and watch me.
Excellent. Well, that's what this is. If anybody doesn't have tickets yet, go over to naplesplayers.org. They're $20. I mean, it's half the price of a normal show. And I like I said, when I got to watch the sneak peek, I was skeptical. I didn't know what I was going to be experiencing, and within minutes, I was sucked into it like I was sitting right there in Blackburn Hall. And so this is so exciting to be a part of this and to have you guys share your experience and your stories. We did put everybody who had answered the comments into a little winner spinner in the background here. And Miss Melissa Flom, if you are on here, and we'll send you a message because I know we've messaged before. If you already have your tickets, we'll get you tickets to share with a friend or family. We're getting some new TMP swag items that will be available online soon, so we can hook you up with that as well. But that's our winner. So congratulations, Melissa! Yay! Any last parting words from the cast other than go get tickets and break a leg and all the fun things that people are commenting on here for you guys? Anything else you want to share?
I just want to thank the community for all of the support, and the cast and crew for their support. We couldn't really do this without you. Keeping on what we love to do is extremely a privilege, and the community has really come together and supported us greatly, and that's what we do as a family, and thank you so much for continuing to support us.
Well said. Well said. All right.
And I love you so much. I love you so much. This is such a great cast. They're so lovely.
Well, thank you for doing what you did, Jessica. I can't wait to see it. I'm excited.
Yeah, we'll have to do an in-person reunion when we're finally able to, huh?
Yes,
so.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, and once again, thank you to Garage Doors of Naples for sponsoring this. We'll put another comment in the comments here with the link over to that playbill. Head over to the page on the website where you can get tickets. You can also read the cast bios. Thank you to everybody who's tuned in and for continuing to support the Naples Players. And we're out right at about 31 minutes. So have a good night, everybody, and let us know what you think of the show. Premieres tomorrow. You can still get tickets every night this week. Hopefully you hear it from a friend who heard it from a friend who saw it, and it's great. So that's what we're hoping for. We can't wait to share it with you. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Right.
Thank you.